Hello and welcome to round number 5. Now, this round I'm actually going to be commentating over my own game. So that will be some sort of spoiler. Basically, what happened was I got rattled at the start of the game because my opponent was queuing a deck that I didn't think they had, because this is pre-submitted deck list. So I'm like, you didn't have a nature deck. That's illegal. So I sit there confused. And then I realized I clicked on the wrong player while looking up deck list. Yes. And when I made my bans, I banned Deception, and they happened to have a Deception list. So that's how it goes. So I spent this entire first game confused. And I will have another update at the end of this video for some more potential chaos. I have no idea. This was tough. By the time we got to round 5 and round 6, I'm like halfway asleep, making dumb mistakes. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this game number 1. I'm queuing Deception into Nature. So here we are, round number 5. I queued Deception into Nature. I didn't think they had Nature in their list. I probably would have banned Nature if I thought it was available. But here we are, confused, because we've gotten hard countered by a list that I don't think he's playing. So you see me pausing here in the picking a God Power stage, because I'm baffled. I'm like, wait a minute, he's playing Nature? I did not expect Nature. This is confusing to me. This is confusing to me. So here we have our opening hand, which I'm still sitting here trying to figure out exactly what have I done. Have they just queued an illegal deck into FakeMews? You don't queue illegal decks into FakeMews and expect to get away with it. But it's late at night. I'm half asleep. I'm half confused. I'm not even talking for my video, which is recording because obviously we have the feed here. I'm just baffled here. I just assumed that this would never make it onto YouTube, but it is indeed making it onto YouTube. Spoiler alert, my opponent was playing one of his 3 submitted decks. I'm just an idiot. He's got the Canopy Barrage for the Armor Lurker. This is a really tough matchup, and having Assassin's Aim and Dark Eyes with a cat isn't a great combo. Now here you're going to see a mistake that's done by Fatigue. This is a really bad line here. So I'm again looking at my opponent's deck list, trying to figure out what it is, and I've got the whole thing in my mind planned out for this turn, and I'm like, okay, I can GP and then pip out the order of operations. The order of operations. These are just types of mistakes that you do not see FakeMews make very often. So get out your camera, take a moment. Rejoice. I don't know. It's just horrendous. It is horrendous. He doesn't even have a good next turn. But what's my hand even? My hand. I've got 2 knives, an Assassin's Aim, and a cat. And yeah, this is pretty bad. This is not what you want in your hand, especially against a nature list with the Selena's Mark God Power to kind of offset any stupid cat ideas you have. I can put 2 cats in the. Now we got 2 Assassin's Aim and 2 Dark Knives. What we can marvel at is how golden my hand is. Unfortunately, I've only got a Shadow Cat. If anybody wants to donate a gold Shadow Cat, slide into my DMs. I'll give you my wallet address. But in the meantime, we're not making any meme dreams happen. Surprise delivery definitely helps make my board a lot better here. It definitely does. At least if we're doing a Dumbstone Skin Poison mistake like we did in this game, we did it in a situation where this game was so brutal and bad that is not going to matter. My hand is about as bad as it possibly can get for this matchup. So our opponent just going face. They've got lethal in 2 turns. I can build a very large cat and then kill it on the same turn by buffing it. I can make it a 10-0 cat. I could make it a 13-1 cat if they would let me continuously cast spells on it. Unfortunately, I don't think Gods and Chains is going to let me. And we draw Blade of the Y Palm here, but we are very, very low on health And that is indeed a problem. We kill their minion. We draw a card, get a lad. Now, we can make that Pyramid Warden rather large, play 2 Assassin's Aim and 2 Dark Knives on it, and it still dies to 1 Lightning Strike. Fun fact. But here, they've got the Underbrush Boar. They have the Wildfire alongside said Underbrush Boar, which easily removes the Blade of the Wide Palm. Go face for 9, put us a 2, and what are we really going to do in this situation? Conceding has been optimal for a couple of turns now, I'd have to say. But we do draw cards before the Underbrush Boar hits. Interesting order of operations. Note there, if we learned one thing from this game, then we've learned one thing more than most people would have. I'm just going to, toss out the cat. Why not? At this point, there's no harm into it. But the situation is rather bleak. We can play 2 Assassin's Aim and 2 Dark Knives on the Shadewalker. The problem is we don't really have a win condition besides from that. They play a Guild Enforcer, and do I have an answer for that situation? I think not. So here, we can make that Shadewalker rather large and make our opponent quite jealous. Or we can play Pietro. I honestly don't even know what I'm hoping for off of Pietro. Because I can get what hidden minion stops the situation. I don't know. And we find the concede button. Mercifully find the concede button. So now you might be expecting game number 2. And that's what a normal person would have on this broadcast. In game number 2, I queued Deception into their light and forgot to hit the record button. That's right. I looked up the wrong deck list for game number 1. Sat there the whole time confused. Tried playing Stone Skin Poison after using the God Power. Wasting the pip there. Didn't really matter. That game was really bad. But we're making mistakes mentally and just completely out of the zone. Somehow we got the win in game number 2. And that sets the stage for game number 3, which is indeed necessary. Welcome to game number 3. We're playing Card Draw Magic for the first game of the event. Yes, that's right. It's round 5. Rounds 1 through 4. People banned by Card Draw Magic. It went 17 out of 18 in the weekend ranked. Nobody wanted to face it because that was the prior day. Obviously, the hot hand makes sense why people would want to ban it. So here we're opening with Demetrius. You could have argued passing on 1, but I was thinking that the final draft goes up to 2. Maybe we kill a 2 health minion on turn 2, but that is not indeed what happens. Now we have an awkward kind of turn where we have the option of burning the final draft on nothing good or just using our GP. And our opponent's going to go ahead and remove the Demetrius, which makes it rather simple. We know that our final draft is a 2-cost card. So here we take the opportunity to remove the Militant Theist. The 1/3 Conjurer will also act as kind of a board counter as well. Try to fight away at the board as it is. Our opponent's definitely going to remove said Street Conjurer and have a pretty decent looking board themselves. So here, somewhat awkward of a spot. We're going to go ahead and just drop the Wayward Hatchling and play an Ancient Text to kill the Vanguard Axewoman. Again, going for board control here. One thing we notice in our hand is we've got the Warp Engineer, and the Warp Engineer can reduce the Unbound Flames to a 3-cost card, which is huge because the Unbound Flames is an important board wipe in this matchup. Now our opponent's going to go ahead and put our Wayward Hatchling effectively to sleep here. And here we're going to go ahead and draw a card, and we get Palace Wand, which is a little bit late, but we're just going to go ahead and set up the Unbound Flames. We're inviting our opponent to go wide, and then we hit him with the Unbound Flames. Now, whenever you see an opponent who's playing Card Draw Magic Warp Engineer on 5 mana, expect it to be Unbound Flames, because more often than not, they are reducing the Unbound Flames so they can play the AoE early. And here we see DBoom make a big mistake, playing right in to the exact card that I am telegraphing, except he's got Protective Benediction. So yeah, he knew what was up. He knew what was up indeed. So now we're in what they call a pickle or something like that. I'm not much of a pickle person myself, but this is a difficult situation that I have found myself in, and now we've got to find a way to break ourselves out of the situation. So the Unbound Flames isn't going to be able to be a complete board wipe. However, it's actually working in our favor that our Leyhorde Hatchling has order, because that's going to allow me to get an attack in right here. We're going to go ahead. It doesn't matter if I attack the 2-4 or the 2-5. Whichever one I don't attack, I use the Unbound on the opposite, and it does indeed act as a board wipe. So here, attacking with that, and going ahead, going face, which is optimized. Unbound Flames is going to kill everything except the 1-3 that has protected already. So that's a huge moment, and we notice that we've got the Blade of the White Plane in hand for the 1-3 with protected and 1 armor. That's probably exactly where the Blade of the White Plane is going. And if you're watching this video, it is a 4-4 at the time of this video. This is before the nerf. Opponent is trying to go as far wide as possible, wants to fight hard, contest for the board here. But we're just going to go ahead and Blade of the Night Plane, see what we get from the card draw here. And we get Leyhorde Hatchling, which is something that's going to be pretty useful next turn. We're just going to go ahead and cycle the card draw right there. Recovered Knowledge, which can be fun situationally. I have to decide whether or not I want to purchase from the Sanctum, and I elect to go ahead and purchase the Ranger First Bow. For one thing, that makes my Leyhorde Hatchling cheaper next turn. And for another thing, it was the best card in the Sanctum. I didn't think that the Valka's Discovery was necessarily necessary, and the Wind-Up Roller probably helps my opponent more than it helps me, because they need the cards. I do not need the cards. They end up getting a wide board and tossing out Holy Writ. I thought I was just about to take complete control over the game, and they say no. They say that we will be fighting for a long time in this game. Huge turn by our opponent to basically stay alive in this. We notice that there's a Form of Power in the Sanctum, so I can play a Form of Power, get a Form of Power, and play another Form of Power, and use the Leyhorde Hatchling if I would like. So that is that situation. We're going to go ahead and do that here. And kill the one with the front line. And for some reason, I'm sitting here confused. And did I elect to play Oni? If so, it was a horrendous order of operations. Yeah, not thinking your turn out here. A lot of bad things were going on during this match. But if you're playing the Oni, you play it before. That way you get all the buffing and potentially even get your Leyhorde ward by playing the order of operations correct there. And also the extra strength on the Oni does matter, because if that 2-6 attacks into Oni, it would be taking more than 2 points of damage. So definitely a critical error there. And our opponent is going to have the opportunity to make the purchase of the Rune of Fire in the Sanctum to take out the Leyhorde Hatchling, which again would not have been available if Leyhorde Hatchling indeed had ward. So we gave them options, and then we top deck Unbound Flames and nothing matters. That's the lesson, kids. This doesn't matter how you play. And I'm going to be like incredibly patient now, just waiting for them to hit another Protective Benediction. Apparently, basically asking to get punished is FakeMews here. And will FakeMews get punished? Well, probably not, because he's got an entire handful of cards. DBoom has no cards in hand. And this should be a win for the Magic player. And I happen to be playing the Magic deck in this game, which is good, because if I was playing the light deck, then I would probably be conceding now. They top deck Mace at the Call, and they're basically playing whatever they draw every single turn the rest of the game. Pretty simple game plan from our opponent's perspective. However, with the Street Conjurer, Tracking Bolt, and just attacking, we can clear the board here. And board wipes are very good for us. The reason why they're good is because our opponent's just not going to be able to really regain the game at all, ever. I can play Street Conjurer, Tracking Bolt to kill one, Ranger First Bow, bam, to kill another. And there's like 17 options I have this turn. And I'm going to elect to play one of them, which is indeed killing the 2/4. And I can actually play Tracking here to deal 1 to everything, which kills the other 2 minions. But I elect to just kill 1 minion, because why kill 2 minions when you can only kill 1 minion? That was my philosophy at the time. But this is not a particularly appetizing position for my opponent either. Still playing off the top of their deck. They do have a value generation god power going for them, which is something. And they've got the Vesper of Concession to go along with it. A Pyrrhic Knowledge. We see a Warm Breath is on top of our list here. Got to be tempted to drop that Oni Spell Sword and try to take immediate control of this game. And that is indeed what we are leaning toward. Oni Spell Sword. And leaning toward the Battle Oryx here. Getting that 3/3 with the front line onto the board here. And the option of killing the Vesper or the 2/2. And I like to kill the Vesper just in case he has some sort of buff. The protected already on the Vesper is annoying. But the main point is that there's not really many convenient ways for Light to get out of the situation that is on the board. And that is indeed the situation that our opponent needs to find a way to escape. We've got the Warm Breath, we've got the Pyrrhic Knowledge, we've got the Unbound Flames, we've got a lot more burst from a hand than you expect. And Oni getting any attack toward the face is absolutely devastating for our opponent. They've got Chaining of the Gods, which is an interesting card because they can weaken the Battle Oryx to the part where it's basically useless. And they can't actually kill Oni here, which is probably somewhat depressing from our opponent's perspective. They kill the Battle Oryx with ease, but here they can only get rid of the Street Conjurer. And at this point, I could go face with everything if I wanted to, but I'm going to take the more patient route here. Just keep their minions off the board. We do waste a Warm Breath on a minion, but we do get 5 points of face in it in the meantime. And what is he really going to do about that Oni Spell Sword on the board except cry? And I think the answer is they're going to cry a lot. There's nothing they can do about it. They sense the end and find the concede button. We advance to 4 wins and 1 loss.